What happens when a manager goes undercover in his own store to see how things really work? What happens when he hears something that changes everything? Let's dive in and see. It was a quiet Monday morning when Trenton Hayes, the 38-year-old manager of Hayes Wheels, a popular bike store in the heart of Chicago, decided to do something he'd never done before. Trenton was a man of principles, hardworking and deeply passionate about his store. He had built Hayes Wheels from the ground up, starting with a small garage and turning it into one of the most trusted bike shops in the city. But lately, something felt off. Sales were dropping, and customer complaints were rising. Trenton couldn't figure out why. That's when the idea hit him. He would go undercover. He would pretend to be a regular customer and see firsthand what was going wrong. Trenton wasn't the kind of man to sit in his office and guess. He wanted to know the truth, no matter how hard it was to hear. He dressed in plain clothes, a simple blue jacket, jeans, and a cap to hide his face. He even practiced talking differently, softening his tone so no one would recognize him. As he walked into his own store that morning, his heart raced. He felt like a stranger in a place he knew so well. Trenton wandered around the store, pretending to browse. He noticed the shelves were messy and some bikes were dusty. His employees, usually so attentive, seemed distracted. One of them, a young man named Darren, was on his phone instead of helping customers. Trenton felt a pang of disappointment but kept his cool. He decided to test the service by buying a bike. He picked a mid-range mountain bike and walked up to the counter. The cashier, a guy named Marcus, barely looked at him as he rang up the purchase. "That'll be $450, Marcus said, his tone flat. Trenton handed over the cash, his mind racing. This wasn't the experience he wanted for his customers. Where was the warmth, the enthusiasm, the pride in their work? As he was about to leave, he heard two customers behind him talking. Their voices were low, but Trenton could hear every word. The first man, a tall guy in his 40s with a scruffy beard, said, "I don't know why we keep coming here. The service is terrible." The second man, shorter and stockier, nodded. "Yeah, and the prices are way too high. I heard the owner doesn't even care about his employees. He just cares about the money." Trenton froze. His heart sank. He wanted to turn around and tell them who he was, to explain that he did care, that he worked harder than anyone to make this store a success. But he stayed quiet, listening. The first man continued, "My cousin works here. He says the manager never listens to the staff. They've been asking for better training and equipment for months, but nothing's changed." The second man sighed. "It's a shame. This place used to be the best. Now it's just meh." Trenton felt a lump in his throat. He had no idea his employees felt this way. He thought he was doing everything right, but clearly he had been blind to their struggles. Trenton left the store, his mind spinning. He drove to a nearby park, sat on a bench, and stared at the bike he had just bought. He thought about the conversation he had overheard. It wasn't just about the customers, it was about his employees too. They felt unheard, unappreciated. He realized something he had never admitted to himself. He had been so focused on the business that he had forgotten the people who made it run. His employees weren't just workers. They were the heart of Hayes Wheels. Without them, the store was nothing. Trenton made a decision. He would go back to the store, reveal his identity, and apologize. He would listen to his employees and make changes. But first, he needed to understand more. The next day, Trenton returned to the store, still undercover. This time, he struck up a conversation with Darren, the employee he had seen on his phone. "Hey man," Trenton said casually, "you guys seem busy. How do you like working here?" Darren hesitated, then shrugged. "It's okay, I guess. But honestly, it's been tough. We don't get much support from the top. The manager's a good guy, but he's always in his office. He doesn't really know what's going on out here." Trenton's heart ached. He had been so close to his team, yet so far away. Darren continued, "I've been here for 2 years, and I love this place. But lately it feels like no one cares. We've been asking for better tools and training, but nothing happens. It's frustrating." Trenton nodded, his mind racing. He realized Darren wasn't lazy. He was demotivated, and it was Trenton's fault. That afternoon, Trenton called a staff meeting. When everyone gathered in the store, he walked in, still in his undercover clothes. The employees looked confused. "I have something to tell you," Trenton said, his voice trembling. He took off his cap and looked at his team. "I'm Trenton Hayes, your manager. For the past 2 days, I've been here as a customer, and what I've seen and heard has changed everything." The room fell silent. I heard customers say our service is terrible. I heard my own employees say they feel unheard and unappreciated. And I realized something. I've been so focused on the business that I forgot about the people who make it work. That's on me, and I'm sorry. The employees exchanged glances, some nodding, others looking down. Trenton continued, "Starting today, things are going to change. We're going to work together to make this store the best it can be. I'm going to listen to you, support you, and make sure you have everything you need to succeed. Because without you, Hayes Wheels is nothing." Over the next few weeks, Trenton kept his promise. He held regular meetings with his staff, listened to their concerns, and made changes. He invested in new tools and training, and he spent more time on the floor, working alongside his team. The atmosphere in the store changed. Customers noticed the difference too. Sales started to rise, and the complaints stopped. One day, Darren approached Trenton. "Hey boss," he said with a smile. "I just wanted to say, thanks. This place feels like home again." Trenton smiled back, his heart full. "No, Darren, thank you. You guys are the reason this store is what it is. I'm just here to make sure you have what you need." Trenton learned a valuable lesson that day. Success isn't just about numbers or profits. It's about people. It's about listening, caring, and making sure everyone feels valued. And as he stood in his store, watching his team laugh and work together, he knew Hayes Wheels was more than just a bike shop. It was a family, and that was worth more than anything. That's the story, friends. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a pleasure sharing it with you all. Don't forget to comment below and let me know where you're watching from. It's always fun to see the global reach of these stories. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button for more amazing stories, tips, and tricks. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. If you'd like to show some extra love, tap the 3 dots near the share button and send a super thanks.